Welcome back to Handlebar Garden. And if this is your first time here, then welcome. Be sure to subscribe. Help us out.
Yep. Like the video.
Yep, hit the thumbs up.
Right here, Facebook. Get us there too. We were requested to give our input, our thoughts on riding with a passenger. Not so much just a passenger, but a inexperienced passenger. So get ready for that next. All right.
I guess the first thing is how much experience you have riding.
That means a lot.
Because if you're inexperienced, then,
two inexperienced people.
Yeah.
I don't say recipe for disaster, but can get a little iffy. If you're not comfortable by yourself
Yeah.
and stable and ready and know what to do in certain situations, putting a passenger on there, So, but, and two, I think along with experience is age. As we grow older, we get, I'm not saying we're old, but we not as giddy.
You've done the stupid things already.
I've already done the stupid stuff,
We're just going to call it what it is.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid.
I've already done that.
There are a lot of people, they would start out like we did, dirt bikes, and
Yep. Rode all
mini
my
bikes,
life.
things, yeah.
Rode on, basically. So, but, and now here's an important thing for a rider. And I mentioned this to Mike right before we hit record, just a few minutes ago. My wife, have I scared her? Of course. I've been scared. You get, something happens, but have never, not once, done it on purpose.
Yep.
There's a difference.
And a lot of people do that.
A lot of people do it on purpose.
Yeah.
And
They've been riding for a long time, and they're pretty comfortable with it, so they do things that they think's funny, which scares the passenger, which makes them not want to ride.
Not want to ride. I know people right now that won't ride. There's a guy I work with. His wife won't ride because of, in her earlier years, she was scared. She got scared. I'm done. And never rode with him and won't ride with him. So, if you do that, and you say you're younger, or even if you're older, don't scare people on purpose, because you might ruin it. Unless you just don't want everyone to ride with you.
Well, you see a lot of people like it. They don't even have a passenger seat, backrest, or nothing, because they don't.
Right.
The bike, that's them. They go do their thing. She does whatever.
Right. And me, I don't know the percentage, but it's a high percentage. If I'm riding, she's with me.
Yeah.
It's probably something. Now, if I'm riding to work or something, of course she's not. But if we're going out somewhere, generally, I don't remember a time us guys got together, to be honest with you, this whole past summer.
It's been a couple of years.
But it's been one time, and that was when it was cold because they wanted to come home. There's a video on that.
Yeah.
Called the Chili Ride, I think it is, or something like that. But,
well, especially with us having the touring bikes, what we've got is for taking a long trip.
Yeah.
So having her with you, that's kind of bonding time.
Yep.
You go somewhere together.
And it makes that ride, and it makes my bike ride better. As far as that goes, I can adjust the shocks.
Yeah.
And I've got them adjusted for her, both of us. When we took off her a couple weeks ago, the bike rode different. It was a lot harder of a ride, but because I didn't take the time to readjust everything. But I want to say this too, and mention to the girls about jumping on video, and I don't guess they're in the mood.
Yeah.
I think they're one to play cards. Anyway, what I would suggest for a rider doing, and I've talked to her too, some of the things not to do per se. Don't be back here.
Yeah.
You know, if you got a radio and you're sitting here back here dancing and jigging, doing a jig, it makes it very hard on the rider. I mean, it's a struggle. It becomes a struggle.
I guess we were going to list it. That'd probably be the number one.
Number one.
If she's an inexperienced rider or passenger, I guess you'd say, right off the bat, before she gets on, tell her you got to sit still, because when you move, it moves the whole bike.
Right.
If you need to move, scoot in the seat, adjust your feet or whatever, give me a heads up. Hey, I got to move. That way you're ready for it, and it's not just out of the blue. You're doing.
And that's not saying to be sitting back there stiff, because
No.
that's even worse than dancing around, if you ask me. But just sudden moves, turning around on a bike to see something. I mean, if you're turning your body, that bike is going that way. And if you're up here riding and you're relaxed, and then all of a sudden the bike takes off, well, then you're having to it can be a struggle. Then it's
the whole ride. If you're fighting the bike to keep it where you want it to be.
I've seen so many people do that.
Yeah.
I mean, fighting. I'm like, oh my goodness.
And you wonder, does he know that she's back there dancing around?
Or does he just think that's what it is?
Or does he think something wrong with the bike? Or maybe he knows and he's just scared to say something?
Yeah. I don't know, man. It makes it rough. It makes it rough. My wife, she's back there, and most time she does this a lot. She falls awake. And what I mean is she's dozed off and she'll jump. And I know it every time. Every time. And it tickles me. But she does that. And I'll say this. As a passenger, when we're going around a turn, you let me do it. Let me work that bike. If we're going on a left-handed turn, just relax with it. Go around the left-hand turn. Don't be leaning to the right, because the more you lean to the right, the more I've got to dig into the left,
Having a passenger lean the opposite way or lean farther than you lean is going to create problems.
Yeah, boy.
When you come into a curve, whichever way you're going, she should be able to look over your shoulder.
Over your shoulder. I've always said that. If I'm going around a right-hand turn, look right over my my right shoulder. If I'm going left, look over my left shoulder, and we'll be all right.
Yeah.
But being stiff, like I said, if you're not relaxed, and maybe it's as somebody that's not experienced, maybe have some nerves and some jitters.
Yeah, because if you're sitting back there, somebody else has got your life in their hands.
Yeah, boy.
If they act a fool, they get you hurt.
Yeah, buddy. Also, something else is very important for a passenger. Passenger needs to be comfortable. That means you bought a seat that fits you, so you're comfortable, so you can ride all day long. You need to put a seat on there where she can ride all day long too.
Yeah, if she's not comfortable, she's trying to move to find a comfortable spot, and then that's creating that wobble again.
And that's your fault.
Yep.
For not hooking her up with a good seat. Yep.
If you don't have nothing back there when you pull out, she's going to dig into your ribs.
Yep. So, I mean, of course, our Limited has a tour pack. And to be honest with you, she don't like to ride without a tour pack because she likes that security, that comfort, of being wrapped up. And that's just her. Not saying that she hasn't rode. I mean, she would ride without that, but she likes that tour pack. And I can't say that I blame her. I use the backrest myself. I didn't for years.
On this bike, I've not used one. My other one.
Once you do it, it's hard to not.
Yeah.
So, but
that and the footboards.
Yeah.
Well, once you get used to them, it's hard to go back to pegs.
I couldn't imagine going back to pegs. I couldn't. I got highway pegs out there, and just to be honest with you, I set my toes on them more than I do just my old feet. But if you come up with anything or know anything else, anything else that might help,
Yeah, leave a comment.
Yeah.
That way somebody can see it and it may help them
Yep.
out.
Like I said, this was requested that we do this, so it'll help them out. You know, we're all in this together. You know, so
number one thing, passenger's got to sit still.
And be relaxed.
If the passenger's got to move, she, whatever the things are now, they need to let the operator know, hey, I've got to make an adjustment. I got to do something, so brace for it. Coming into a curve, don't lean the opposite way. Don't lean too far.
Yep.
Don't try to stay stiff and straight. Just kind of go with the flow.
Another thing too, maybe we'll make another video on this, is our communication to each other.
Yeah.
Screaming at each other gets rough sometimes, or they might spook you by screaming at your ear. If we're gonna if I see a bump coming, a jar coming, I'll take my hand and I'll bump her knee a couple times. She knows then, brace for something. That's just one little thing I do, and it's not bumper. Here's another bike coming. Wave at them. No, that ain't. It's a bumper on the knee to let her know we're fixing to potentially have a little jar or jolt or something. And there's been times I've done it and she's braced and it just looked like it and it didn't happen, but still we were prepared. And then there's been other times I didn't see it coming and it just goes up your spine. But for the most part, I try to always let her know that we're gonna bump into something. That's just one of the things, many things. You can come up with your own things on that, on how to communicate without being spoken to, unless you've got intercom system, which we don't. So
yeah, well, you gotta have a full face for that.
Yeah,
because if not, here's a little tip: if you don't have a full face, any kind of intercom system, even the high dollar ones, you're going to get all that wind noise.
You get a lot of wind noise,
and just it ain't gonna be worth
it. With the big windshield, it's not as bad, but still, you're picking up a lot of residual noise. So anyway, let us know what you think. Help us out, and till next time, be sure to be good to one another. That's very important, and always keep it
torque to spec.